Tonight, Geelong City Council under fire. Tensions rise over the same-sex marriage plebiscite. And the latest update on the Let Them Stay movement. Also tonight, Eddie Maguire's radical redevelopment plan for Docklands.
Hello and welcome to Making Media Nightly. I'm Amy Hutchinson. First, we come to you with breaking news from the 2016 budget.
Major change in the release of Treasurer Scott Morrison's federal budget was the cutting of expenses in order to fund for the government's future plans.
So the government hopes that it will stimulate investment, stimulate innovation, stimulate job growth, but they make certain assumptions in the budget about what will be the level of growth, what will be the level of inflation, what will be the price for commodities. So the government's directing savings from reductions in spending in welfare, tertiary education, they're increasing the public sector dividend, and they're increasing tobacco excises, and with that they're spending more on defence infrastructure, and they're lifting the marginal tax threshold for lower income earners, giving more tax breaks to small business.
We'll now cross live to our reporter at Parliament House, reporting on the recent dismissal of the Geelong City Council by the state government.
Thanks, Amy. Yesterday, the legislation passed through Upper House to dismiss the Geelong Council and Mayor. The legislation was introduced by Natalie Hutchins, Minister for Local Government, after a 3-month inquiry into the Geelong Council.
The legislation was introduced after a 115-page report. The report, which parts of were leaked onto the internet, is said to have many complaints towards Mayor Darren Lyons, but also contains evidence of the misbehaviour of council employees.
Economically, the council had stopped providing leadership to the city, and you need all 3 levels of government firing in order to get over the jobs crisis that is going on in Geelong at the moment.
The legislation originally planned for Geelong to be run by administrative interim for 4 years, but the Liberal Party and the Greens did not agree with this time frame.
So as an end result, the amendment put by the Liberal Party, which was to go to 18 months rather than the 4 years, was accepted and went through the Parliament. What that means is that there's a whole range of governance issues that have to be addressed. Obviously, within the council itself, the report doesn't just focus on the bullying within the councillors and the mayor, it focuses on the whole organisation.
While the Labor Party may not believe that 18 months will be long enough to fix the problems within the council, Rob Spence is worried about the Geelong public.
We're in a democracy in this country, and removing a democratically elected government, I think, should be the last straw. And whilst administratively it might be smooth, whether you actually get the connection to the community, I think, is really the serious thing that I'd be worried about in Geelong.
Time will tell if this legislation will solve the issues within the Geelong Council. Rebecca Chapman reporting for Making Media Nightly.
Thank you, Beck. The fight for same-sex marriage in Australia is far from over as tensions rise as a result of the Turnbull government announcing a plebiscite on the matter for later this year. Julia Mamoni reports.
Same-sex marriage has been at the forefront of Australian politics recently, as it has been unveiled that a plebiscite will be held shortly after the federal election later this year. According to a June 2014 opinion poll, 72% of Australians believe same-sex couples should be able to marry, whilst only 19% voted against and 9% undecided. With this feedback from the public, the need for a plebiscite is being questioned.
It's an absolute waste of time. It's a waste of money, costing about $150 million and at a conservative estimate of taxpayers' money that could be better spent on education and hospitals and roads and public transport. The people in our parliament who are the ones who have to vote for it don't represent mainstream Australian values and views.
Despite the overwhelming opposition of a plebiscite, some groups believe it will be a step in the right direction and a good opportunity to discuss the future of marriage equality.
I think there should be a plebiscite because I think the debate needs to happen, and I think all views need to be debated in a very civil way, so we're not just shouting at each other from the opposite sides.
A rally against the Australian Christian Lobby, also known as ACL, took place a few days ago at Scott's Church on Collins Street. where LGBT supporters gathered to voice their opinions.
Winning something like marriage equality would make a lot of people feel really confident about who they are and themselves. And I think the government at the moment really gets a lot from people not being very confident about who they are. If the government, the laws of the government were not as discriminatory towards LGBTI people, that would say to people kind of in society at large that they should not be as discriminatory towards LGBTI people.
As the rally progressed, protesters clashed with police, ending with arrests and people being detained. Even though marriage equality is widely supported by Australians, there is a minority of traditional Christian views that drive its opposition.
Family is, of course, biologically a mum, dad, and if they have children. Having said that, I will qualify that's the optimum.
The future of same-sex marriage remains undecided. For more coverage on the ongoing debate, follow Making Media Nightly. I'm Julie Mamoni, reporting live from La Trobe University.
Coming up, home buyers left heartbroken as costs rise. And the Let Them Stay movement gains momentum. That and more after the break.
Think about love, you are right beside me. I think about us, you will always find me. My heart is lost.
It was a love that was going to last, but then tragedy struck.
Things that still remind me. These days my affection's like a stranger. You are so
How will their relationship survive?
braver than me. Oh, save me from my demons. Teach me to defeat them. And lead me to
Will Connor forgive him?
when I think about love. You are right beside
Home and Away, Monday night at 7.
Welcome back. Numbers of home buyers have recently been left heartbroken after attending auctions that were beyond their expectations. This comes as real estate agencies across Victoria have been investigated for suspected underquoting of properties.
To gather more insight into the underquoting of properties in real estate, we meet with Emily Power, Enzo Raimondo and Josh Rowe.
The state government has launched a blitz to stamp out underquoting in the real estate industry in Victoria. They've launched 2 investigations, one in spring and another one which is continuing now through autumn. One real estate agency has been charged with underquoting as a result of that, and they've also pledged a raft of changes designed to help buyers understand the property market and again stamp out underquoting.
Underquoting is a serious issue which wastes home buyers time, money and heartbreak. It can cost them up to $21,000 if they can't find the property they're looking for over a 12-month period. And so what realas.com does is we predict home prices on average within 5% of the final selling price.
It's in this day and age, transparency and honesty is key to everything. And agents need to ensure that consumers have access to a lot of information these days, and that when they quote a price, they need to be, transparent about that and not deliberately underquote.
And in a growing movement, supporters of the Let Them Stay campaign, alongside more than 100 churches across the nation, have given their support to a sanctuary offering to stop the deportation of refugees to offshore detention centres. Former detainee Ali Bakhtavadi spoke to Monique Martin of his time in detention.
Earlier this week, news broke of the Papua New Guinean government's High Court ruling that the detainment of asylum seekers and refugees on Manus Island is illegal.
Their condition is really horrible condition because they have no hope about future.
Today, supporters gathered on the steps of the State Library here in Melbourne, sending a clear message to Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull: bring them here.
With the treatment they have at the moment, physically, financially and mentally, it's 100% against human rights in Australia.
Misha Coleman has said that although the sanctuary movement is a last resort, churches and communities are prepared to fight for the human rights of those in detention.
So the sanctuary movement was a way to create some space for the government to change its mind.
The government has denied responsibility to assess close to 30,000 applications for refugee status, prolonging their time in detention. Human rights lawyer Amy Frew has represented a number of cases involving asylum seekers and refugees.
They are Australia's responsibility. These people have come to Australia seeking asylum, and we've put them in offshore detention centres in very cruel conditions, and it's time now for us to take responsibility.
Growing pressure on Malcolm Turnbull and Bill Shorten from the corporate sector, from decent Australians, from people within civil society, the churches, all saying this has to stop. Let's break the deadlock.
Next, we bring you the latest in entertainment and the ongoing Safe Schools debate. That's all to come after the break.
I had to quit studying communism. My marks just weren't good enough. How do you kill a vegetarian vampire? With a stake to the heart. How does Moses make tea? He brews it.